Okay, Brian, how about we get to the script?
Let's do it.
Any pre-thoughts before we start performing?
Well, you're going to be reading a lot to me today, which is good.
I'm reading to you,
Yeah, this is mostly dialogue.
if you say so.
Well, there's an exception, but for the most part, it's most of the pages are.
All right. So last
Should
we
we-
left off was
Yeah.
at the bottom of 62, where Jebediah shoots him a grim look, him being Jones.
Right. Oh, did you want me to reread that part?
Oh, that's fine. I'll
I can.
start. Well, it does change a little bit. Here I have
Alrighty.
Jebediah whispering something to Jones.
Here we go. Jebediah shoots him a grim look, then whispers something to him before addressing the men who rush to stand at attention.
Jebediah. Men, we are all seasoned veterans of the great war that tore this nation in two. By now, you could have all retired back to your farms, back to your families. But each of you chose to stay on. You have your reasons, as do I. But I believe in your... Oh, let's try that again. But I believe in my heart that beneath your motivations is a desire to protect this land from any threat.
The company cheers.
Jebediah. Well, men, that threat is here. Motions to the fort. Here within these walls a disease so dangerous it turned good men into monsters. Points to the body pile. Here in this pile of poor soldiers whose minds and bodies were taken by this plague. Points to the wounded men. And there, our brothers in arms, wounded, and no doubt afflicted by the very sickness that threatens us all. And their sacrifice will not be forgotten.
The wounded men against the wall suddenly freeze and look at each other. Jebediah nods at Jones.
Jones. Firing squad! Ready!
A portion of the front line of men aims their rifles at the wounded men. A private who is nursing a bite on his hand breaks rank.
Private. Wait! Jones. Aim! Private. Wait! For pity's sake! Captain, please!
Jebediah looks at the rest of the men who either watch in disbelief or look away.
Jones. Jebediah. Hold! What's your name, soldier? Private. Dodson, sir. Jebediah. Private Dodson. You are already dead. Execution is a small mercy compared to the monstrous fate awaiting you. Dodson. I feel fine, sir. Jones. You're infected. You'll change. You'll kill us all. Dodson. Then cut off my arm, just like it was gangrene.
Other soldiers looked at Jebediah, eyes pleading to consider the ostensibly reasonable idea.
Jones. Sir, you saw what these things did. Let's try that again. Not what they did. Sir, you saw what these things are. We can't take that chance. Dodson. Please, I don't want to die. Jones. Give the order, sir. Dodson. Please, please. Oh, God, please.
Jebediah looks like he might spare Dodson's life, but then the wounded soldier next to Dodson, bitten on the neck, rushes the firing squad with feral hunger. The firing squad fires instinctively, killing all wounded, including Dodson. An eerie silence falls on the courtyard as the smoke clears and the company reconciles events with their morals. Then,
Jones. Look!
Dodson and the wounded all slowly rise as undead. Every face in the company hardens, their minds made up. They raise their rifles and put the undead down. Jebediah mounts his horse.
Jebediah. Are you men with me?
The company cheers with unwavering resolve.
Jebediah. Lieutenant Jones, where did you say these soldiers came from?
Exterior, Sally's saloon, continuous. Zeke and Sally watch as men herd infected people and undead into an abandoned store. Zeke and Sally watch as men herd infected people and undead into an abandoned storefront a little ways down the street. Other men are busy boarding up their windows. Occasionally, an arm breaks through a window and is pushed back in. Townsfolk scurry along, afraid to be outdoors. Zeke and Sally go inside, locking the door to the saloon. Sally shrieks. Staring at her through the window is Bill. He has a greenish tint to his skin, and green bile spills from his lips. He looks at her through green eyes, but he doesn't appear to see her. Instead, he touches the window with his hand. It thumps. He moves along and touches again. Thump. He continues thumping across the front until he starts moving out of view. Nevertheless, the soft thumps can be heard as he moves around the perimeter. It fades, but then turns into loud banging.
Sally. What the hell is that?
Banging comes from the secret entrance in the rear. Zeke grabs his shotgun and approaches cautiously, with Sally behind him, pistol drawn. They nod to each other, and Sally quickly unbars the doors, while Zeke throws them open, revealing
Sam. Whoa! Whoa!
Interior, Doc Murphy's, continuous. Carl sits on a chair while Doc Murphy finishes bandaging his hand. Carl keeps looking over at Molly, who is strapped down on a table. She writhes. On the other table, the small girl is strapped down. She's bandaged, but wild as ever. Stan, Everett, and Ray watch her with morbid curiosity.
Carl. Doc, I don't know what got into her. She never harmed nobody. Doc Murphy. Did I say Carl? I said Carl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Doc Murphy. Don't worry about that now. Let's just get you fixed up. Carl. It's a miracle, right, Doc? God brought my Molly back to me. Doc Murphy. Something certainly special happened. Now, you're good to go. Carl. I ain't leaving my Molly.
Doc Murphy looks over at Stan.
Stan. Carl, why don't you wait outside? We got to talk to the doc about some things. Ray, you mind keeping Carl company?
It takes Ray a moment to take his eyes off of the small girl.
Ray. Oh, sure, Sheriff. Come on, Mr. Carl. Let's let the law handle this.
Ray takes Carl by the arm and leads him out.
Stan. Okay, Doc. What is this?
Doc Murphy walks over to the small girl and shakes his head.
Doc Murphy. I don't understand it. She's missing so much skin and muscle. I don't know why she's not screaming in agony. And her fever is impossibly high. Everett. Yeah, I can feel the heat from here. Doc Murphy. I've only seen the fever that high once before. There was a soldier in town. Very sick man. Scary sick.
He walks over to Molly.
Doc Murphy. And this one, I can't explain. No heartbeat, no breath, no dilation of the pupils. Let's try that again. No dilation of the pupils? She's dead in all ways but one. I don't know how this is happening. Stan. Some kind of disease? Doc Murphy. Diseases affect the living. I've never seen it affect a corpse.
Suddenly, the small girl on the table begins breathing rapidly and sounds labored. Before Doc Murphy can get to her, she expires, exhaling a death rattle. Doc Murphy presses his stethoscope to her chest. He sighs.
Damn it. It's always terrible when the young ones go.
There's a moment of silence as the three men stare at the floor. Then Doc Murphy puts his hand across the small girl's eyes to shut them. As he pulls his hand away, the small girl's eyes flash open, and she bites at Doc Murphy. He manages to snap his hand back in time, but falls down in surprise. Everett and Stan rush to his side. Now the small girl behaves just like Molly, slowly writhing. The men all stare in consternation. Exterior, Doc Murphy's, minutes later. The men emerge, shaking off what they just saw. Everett sees Carl being consoled by Ray.
Everett, to Stan. We're going to have to put the girls in with the rest. Stan. Yeah, I'll talk to him.
Stan walks over to Carl to speak privately. Carl breaks down in tears. Everett pulls Doc Murphy aside.
Everett. Doc, no offense, but this seems bigger than any of us can handle. Doc Murphy. None taken. And agreed. Everett. You mind sending your wife to telegraph for some help? Doc Murphy. I'll do it. Claudette's a little under the weather. It's nothing. Touch of exhaustion. Everett. Any help is appreciated.
Doc hurries off. Everett sees Maggie near the jail, holding Tommy. Everett approaches them.
Maggie. Everett, what's happening? Tommy is terrified, and I admit, so am I. Everett. We're still trying to figure it out. Just the same, I hope you'll stay in town. That farm of yours will take me some time to get to. Will take me some time to get to you. If something happens, I really should change that. Will take some time to get to if something happens.
Maggie can't help but feel flattered. Reassured, she smiles.
Maggie. All right. We'll get a room tonight. Promise you'll stop by? For Tommy's sake.
Everett nods, never breaking eye contact. Interior jail, moments later. Everett walks in and immediately heads to the gun rack. He reloads his gun and stocks his gun belt. Long watches him with a steely gaze. Finally.
Long. Stay of execution, Marshal?
Everett doesn't miss a beat with what he's doing.
Everett. It isn't safe to travel.
Long steps to the bars and leans on them.
Long. From what I've seen, it isn't safe to stay either.
Loaded for bear, Everett heads to the door.
Everett. Well, we're staying. So get comfortable. Long. Watch your back, Marshal.
Everett exits, slamming the door behind him.
Long. To himself. Watch your back.